So today my lecture will be about photochemistry, and photochemistry is the study of interaction of electromagnetic radiation with the matter. That means interaction of our visible light with the matter, that is gases, liquids and solids. That will result into a physical or a chemical change. So the total reaction is called what? Photochemistry, right? Now this photochemistry, it is of two processes. There are two processes taking place in photochemistry. One is photochemical reactions and another one is photophysical reactions. So photochemical reactions, what will the examples are? Photo rearrangement, right? Then photoisomerization reactions, then photo dissociation reactions. So can you tell any one example for photo rearrangement? That is pinacol-pinacolone rearrangement, right? Then photoisomerization reactions, that is cis-butene to trans-butene, right? Then photo dissociation reactions, dissociation of hydrogen molecule, right? So these are some of the examples of photochemical reactions. Now we will be dealing with the photophysical reactions, and photophysical reactions, what are the processes taking place in photophysical reactions? That is fluorescence, phosphorescence and some radiation less transitions. So radiation less transitions means intersystem crossing, internal conversion, vibrational relaxation and so on. We will be discussing this in the chapter, right? Then this photochemistry, it is based upon the absorption of light. Okay. Now what forms the law of absorption? That is, first one is the Beer-Lambert law, right? Then what is the Beer-Lambert law? This absorbance, it will be equal to molar absorptivity coefficient into concentration into path length of the cuvette we are using. So this is the phenomenon we are using in the UV visible spectrophotometer. So the UV visible spectrophotometer works on the basis of Beer-Lambert law, right? And what is this molar absorptivity coefficient? It is the absorbance of concentration for 1 mole of the solution in 1 liter for a path length of 1 centimeter. So that is called molar absorptivity coefficient, right? This molar absorptivity coefficient, that is proportional to the absorbance. Okay. Now, what are the laws governing the photochemistry? That is the first law of photochemistry, that is the Grothus-Draper's law. It is also known as the first law of photochemistry. So what this Grothus-Draper's law defines is, see, whatever molecules or which of the molecules that absorb the light, that will undergo a chemical change. Can you understand? So what type of molecules? Only those molecules which can absorb the light, that will undergo a chemical change, and those molecules which cannot absorb the light, they won't undergo a chemical change, right? So the reaction takes place by molecules, only those molecules which can absorb the light. So that is called Grothus-Draper's law. Then next comes is the Stark-Einstein law. So what this law states that each photon of light will absorb, each photon of light absorbed by the molecule, it will only one molecule will be activated. That means, see, if one molecule will get activated by absorbing one photon of light, right? Can you understand? For the chemical activation, take one molecule, it will absorb one photon of light and will form the product, right? Then second molecule means it will again absorb another photon of light and again it will form the product, okay? But this has some drawbacks, right? In most of the cases, molecules will absorb the photon of light and many molecules will be activated. In some cases, only half of the molecule will be activated. So this law cannot be taken into account. So we are going for the quantum efficiency, right? This quantum efficiency, that is given by, also known as quantum yield. How can we calculate it? Number of molecules reacting in a certain time divided by number of quanta of radiation absorbed, right? How many molecules are absorbing the photon? With the ratio of number of molecules reacting in the same time. That is what is called quantum yield, right? This quantum yield, it is of two types, high quantum yield and low quantum yield. See, what is high quantum yield? Sometimes the molecule will absorb one photon of light, right? then it will go a series, many molecules will be activated and it will go series of chemical reactions. So, for this example is chlorine, absorption of light by chlorine, and this chlorine it will be forming chloride radicals, then it will react with hydrogen to form HCl, right. The formation of HCl from chlorine, and also it is an exothermic reaction, its quantum yield is about 10 power 4 to 10 power 6. So, it is having the highest quantum yield, right. Then the lowest quantum yield, see the same thing but with bromine, formation of HBr with bromine, right. It is having quantum yield less than 1, that is equal to 0.01 lowest quantum yield. So, what are the reasons for this high quantum yield and low quantum yield? So, here look here, for high quantum yield the reactant molecules will absorb light, then it will go to the excited state, right. There what will happen? It will collide with another molecules, then again it will activate many molecules and a series of chain reactions will be taking place. So, light absorbed is only one photon, but it is activating more and more molecules, right. So, that is the causes for the high quantum yield. Okay. Then what is the causes for the low quantum yield? Sometimes reverse reactions will take place. The molecules will absorb light, then it will go to the excited state, but it will lose its energy and come to the ground state. At that time it will be not able to activate more molecules, right. Then again it has to absorb more amount of photon in order to form the product. So, that is the reason for the low quantum yield, right. So, what are the photophysical processes happening? So, that is explained in a single diagram, that is called Jablonski diagram. Okay. So, in this Jablonski diagram we can study all the photophysical processes. Now, look here, from the ground state. So, ground state is taken as S, right. There it is. Okay. From the ground state the molecule will absorb the light and it will go to the higher excited singlet state, right, higher excited singlet state. From the ground state the molecule will absorb light and go to the higher excited singlet state. From the higher excited singlet state it will lose its energy, right, it will lose its energy and come to the lower excited singlet state through a process called internal conversion. To a process called internal conversion, from the higher excited singlet state to the lower excited singlet state. Okay. That is called internal conversion, and from there it will, at this time they do not emit radiation. You have to note this point, at this time they will do not emit radiation, only they will lose their energy, that is all. Then from the lower excited singlet state they will emit the radiation and then they will return to the ground state. So, that is called fluorescence. Okay. So, now look here, this is one electronic level and this is one electronic level, again this is on electronic level, this is on electronic level and so on, right. Each electronic level will be having vibrational levels inside. Can you understand? Each electronic level will be having vibrational levels inside, right. So, now look here, the molecule from the ground state it will go to the first excited singlet state, and there inside the excited singlet state, maybe this one you just consider this as the fourth excited singlet state. Inside the fourth excited singlet state there will be more vibrational levels, and from the highest vibrational level the molecule will then lose its energy and come to the lowest vibrational level, but the molecule is still in the same excited state. Can you understand? So, this is called vibrational relaxation. This is called vibrational relaxation. Then what is happening? When there is spin orbit coupling, note the term, when there is spin orbit coupling, what will the molecule do? The molecule from the lowest excited singlet state, it will go to the triplet state. It will go to the triplet state, right. Then this process is called intersystem crossing. Here also it will not emit any radiation, but it will lose its energy and come to the triplet state. you know that triplet state is lower in energy than the singlet state. Why? Due to Hund's rule of maximum spin multiplicity, right. This triplet state is lower in energy than the singlet state, right. So, from the singlet state the molecule will travel to the triplet state, and this process is called inter-system crossing, and from there what will happen? Sometimes vibrational relaxation will also take place, then sometimes what? It will lose the radiation and come to the ground state. So, this is called phosphorescence. Okay. So, that is why phosphorescence will take some time even after the light source is switched off. But fluorescence, what about the fluorescence? When the light source is switched off, automatically the fluorescence also cuts off. So, this is the Jablonski diagram. Okay. So, what are the terms involved in photochemistry? First one is chemiluminescence. What is actually luminescence? That is fluorescence, phosphorescence, and what are the photo reactions taking place? That is called luminescence, right. So, what is chemiluminescence? That is luminescence resulting from chemical reactions. So, see, these are the luminescent reactions. Okay. Then bioluminescence, that is luminescence observed in biological or living organisms. Okay. Fire glow you have seen. Then next one, what are the photophysical properties of excited state molecules? Okay. When the molecule is in the excited state, what about its properties? So, first one, when we see the dipole moment, see this molecule 2-amino 7-nitrofluorine. When it is in the ground state, its dipole moment is 7, but when the same molecule, when it is in the excited state, its dipole moment is 25. So, there is a marked difference in the dipole moment between the ground state and the excited state of the molecule, right. Then see this redox potential. So, you may be telling what are the uses of this. See, you just see this redox potential here. Have you seen methylene blue? Methylene blue எங்க யூஸ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்க? Estimation of glucose indicator use பண்ணிருப்பீங்க. So, methylene blue, it's a dye. So, for this photo degradation of methylene blue, see here, when it is in the ground state, the dye will be blue in color, but when it is excited, it will get bleached. It will change to white color. Okay. So, what's happening there? The molecule is decomposed or degraded. So, that is photodegradation. This is one of the importance of photochemistry, right. Then see acidity constants. See, in phenol, you all know phenol is a weak acid, right. So, in ground state, this phenol will be ortho-para-directing, but in the excited state, phenol is meta-directing. Okay. So, when you have to carry a reaction in phenol and you want a meta product, what you can do? Just you can excite the phenol molecule and then you can form the desired product, right. Then photosensitization, this is the important one. So, what is a photosensitization? Certain molecules, they won't absorb light, okay, and they won't undergo a chemical change. So, what we can do? We can take those molecules which can absorb light, okay, then we can collide these molecules with the desired molecule, and what will happen? It will transfer its energy to the desired molecule, and that particular molecule which cannot absorb light, it will now take the energy from this molecule and it will go to the excited state, then it will form the desired product. This process is called photosensitization, and this first molecule we are using here, that is called photosensitizer. So, look an example. See, mercury, it is an inorganic photosensitizer. See, mercury, it will absorb light and it will get excited, and this mercury, it is now excited mercury, and it will then transfer its energy to hydrogen molecule, and now what happens? Hydrogen radicals are formed. Again, otherwise this hydrogen cannot absorb light. Okay. Then again chlorophyll. Plants produce starch. that green pigment in the leaves, that is the photosensitizer. Okay. Then applications of photosensitization. This infrared photography. Even in light, we can take photos using infrared photography. So this is one example for photosensitization reaction, right? Then photosynthesis, we all know that photosynthesis, and that is also one example for photosensitization. This photosensitizer is chlorophyll. It will absorb the light. Then what? It will combine the small molecules and it will form the larger molecule starch. Right? That is an example for photosensitizer. Then what is quenching? Another important one, quenching. So this quenching, see, some molecules, it will absorb the light and it will go to the excited state, right? It will be fluorescent. Some molecules will be fluorescent, right? When we add another molecule, the fluorescence intensity of this particular molecule will be decreased. So that is called quenching. Okay, this molecule is called quencher, right? This quenching, for example, we can take that quinine. This quinine is a fluorescent molecule, but when we add this chloride ions into this quinine molecule, what will happen? The fluorescent intensity of the quinine will be reduced. Okay. So here the quencher is chloride ions. The process is called quenching. This quenching, it is of two types. One is dynamic quenching, another one is static quenching. Got it? One is dynamic quenching and another one is static quenching. So this dynamic quenching, this arises as a result of molecular collisions. In the ground state, what will happen? The molecules will collide with each other and what happens? The fluorescence intensity will be decreased. So that is called dynamic quenching, right? The static quenching, what will happen? The quencher and the fluorescent molecule will form a complex in the ground state and that will result in the decrease in intensity of the fluorescent molecule, right? So that is called static quenching. Can you understand? So dynamic quenching, it arises due to molecular collisions, and static quenching, this is arises due to ground state complex formation. So how can we find the mechanism of quenching? So we are taking a reaction and we are saying that quenching is there. Then how can we find the mechanism, whether it is static or dynamic? For that we are using this important equation that is called Stern-Volmer equation. This is one of the important equation in photochemistry. So this is the Stern-Volmer equation. So this is the equation, F naught by F is equal to 1 plus Ksv into Q. This Ksv is equal to Kq into tau, right? So now what is F naught? Fluorescence intensity is the absence of quencher, that is the fluorescence intensity of the fluorescent molecule. Then after adding the quencher, what is the fluorescence? That is the F. Okay. Then Ks is called Stern-Volmer quenching constant and Kq is called bimolecular quenching rate constant, and tau is the lifetime of the fluorescent molecule. Mostly the fluorescence lifetime will be 10 power minus 8 seconds. For any molecules the fluorescence lifetime will be 10 power minus 8 seconds, right? From there we can find that whether the molecule, see, for that we are more and more experiments were done and it was found that the values above 2 into 10 power 10 mole per liter, if we get the value above 2 into 10 power 10 mole per liter, then that will be static quenching. Below that values will be dynamic quenching. These were experimentally found values, right? Now importance of quenching, this is something a major area of research. What we can find the protein molecules, binding of protein molecules, okay, binding of certain drug molecules with protein molecules. What will they do? They just this protein molecules, this is an BSA, bovine serum albumin, this is one protein, serum protein. So in this protein molecules, there will be many fluorescent molecules like tryptophan. Actually, what is a protein? It is composed of amino acids, right? So what are the three amino acids that are fluorescent? Phenylalanine, tyrosine and tryptophan. Okay. So this amino acid sequence will form a protein molecule. What will we do here? We will bind our drug molecule with this protein molecule. Then we have to study the fluorescence of a certain amino acid molecule. Say for we will be taking tryptophan 2,1,2, take one amino acid tryptophan 2,1,2, that will be inside this protein molecule, and we are taking the fluorescence of the tryptophan 2,1,2 molecule, right? Now we are adding the drug molecule. We are just increasing the concentration of the drug molecule. Now what happens? The fluorescence intensity keeps on decreasing like this. Now what's happening here? Actually the drug molecule is binding inside the protein, and now the protein is changing its structure, right? The protein is changing its structure. That means what? This amino acid which is exposed outside, when it binds to a drug, what will happen? It will be going inside, it will be folding. So what happens? Its fluorescence intensity will be keeping on decreasing. From this we can find where our drug molecule binds inside the protein, right? This is only importance of quenching. Now excimer, what is excimer? From the name itself you can say excited state dimer, right? Excimer, excited state dimer. This is the phenomena of laser. Okay, what will happen? The molecules, when it goes to an excited state, it will form dimers. Okay, so the one example is laser. Then again what? Exciplex. This is excited state complex. That's all. Exciplex. This is excited state complex. Right? These are the two terms. Then photochemistry in our life process, there are many and many reactions, but two of them important. One is the chlorophyll and one is the theory behind our vision. What will be having in our eyesight? Retinol. That is cis retinol. It will absorb light and it will then transform to trans retinol. Then this trans retinol, in order it will change the shape and again fix to the, it will change the shape, and then it will in order to combine with the opsin protein, it have to then come back to the cis retinol. So in between that cis to trans, okay, so that brain will receive the signal and that which we can able to see. So that is an important thing in the photosynthesis. Okay. Thank you.